Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 36 of A Knight's Ransom. They have just defeated a white dragon, and now they've managed to unlock their next location. It is no longer level lock. That's the word I wanted. And God. There was no dragon horde to be found by anybody other than Fred, and Fred did not share its location. But they do have their little dragonlets and a direction in which to continue to travel. However, they need a little bit more information. So, of course, before we get down into it, don't forget we do have merch on Streamlabs, and if you purchase it, it helps us run all of these wonderful things. Patreon is going through a little bit of a restructure, so bear with us. We will have content as soon as we can for all you lovely people. And so I don't think I'm missing anything else, so let's get down to it. With the dragon defeated and as much meat as they can possibly carry, carted up and ready to be transported back on their horses, the party starts their 3-day journey back to Warrington. Is there RP that the party would like to do? Now is the time.
Oh, if you're getting an echo from my mic, I can fix that.
I was just confirming if anyone else was hearing. I didn't know if it was just mine, because I always have technical difficulty.
Nah, it makes sense that you are. I've got you on pretty loud speakers.
Well, now I'm just honored.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, well, I wanted my neighbors to hear you too.
Oh, thank you. I hope your neighbors like my voice, because they're going to be hearing a lot of it.
Free advertising. What's up, neighborhood?
Mm.
Coming in hot from Direbear.
Alright. Party. RP time. Is there things that you wish to say to each other?
Oh, local sports team.
Wow, amazing. So proud of you guys.
Does Warrington have a local sports team?
You're not
Or
sure.
had? Question mark.
The Warriors.
No, bad.
You are honestly not sure.
Oh,
Seems weird why they didn't. The townspeople couldn't have come in as a group and maybe got rid of the dragon. But I'm glad we did it for them. We can take a leisurely ride back. We don't have to hurt our horses rushing back for 3 days.
Oh, especially because we're carrying all this extra weight with us. Don't push the horses too hard.
I'm
Sure.
sorry. Did you just throw shade at a bunch of untrained villagers?
Maybe.
I mean, to be fair, it's in the wording, untrained.
Isn't that like, cannon fodder? Like,
Why send in townsfolk?
sorry, I thought
when-
there was knights here because, we've got the knight lieutenant, so.
Their numbers are severely depleted from
Okay, I did-
trying to protect and fight the dragon. Which was something I kept harping on as you guys rode into town.
Okay, I'll take it back.
Well, you know what? You can't help those who can't help themselves.
They tried and were failing. God, I can't believe you're throwing shade at these poor folks. Have you
Took
no
it back. I
heart?
took it back. Mulligan, Mulligan.
The voice of the gods. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I will say, as Sasha broods quietly, Orion will be kind of keeping some space from Sasha, hanging out with Fred, checking in on them because they seemed a little off put by the whole situation.
Well, it usually happens when a dragon wants to eat me. It's the first time that's happened.
I mean, maybe he thought you would make a good toothpick.
Don't want to destroy my tree now. Come on.
No need to ruffle any branches. Get your leaves in a knot.
Okay, that was clever.
For some reason now I just have, do your leaves hang low? Do they wobble to and fro?
And then I just have other questions like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
All right, well, that's fair.
We're off to a lovely start this evening. I'm here for it.
I was like, where you going with that one there, Otter? Oh, I'm so
So-
sorry.
We begin our journey back towards town, I guess.
Okay.
Are all of the horses still there? Question
They
mark?
are.
Lovely.
They are.
They stayed down in the trees.
Just making sure they didn't get spooked or anything.
No, they didn't seem to. And you guys are able to get on your horses, load up the oh my god. Load up the meat
spoils.
and your spoils of conquest
Oh.
and head back to town.
God, I hope this isn't spoiled already.
Not that kind of spoiled.
Not kitchen
But-
here.
But thanks for playing.
I'm just sorry there was no horde.
Yes, Fred, it's suspicious that there was no horde while going to deal with a dragon.
I mean,
I
logically,
didn't see a horde for the white dragon.
logically speaking, it has only been here for a short period of time. It may not have had ample opportunity to start amassing one.
Oh, Mom, roll me a deception check, please.
But I didn't lie.
Roll me a deception check, because you are obfuscating the truth. Karasef, what she said isn't technically wrong, but it may not be the whole story.
Okay. If it doesn't seem to be wrong, I'd probably just be like, okay, that's unusual, I guess. Haven't dealt with a lot of dragons before though, so maybe it was just rumor, hearsay.
Maybe.
Maybe it was on one of the other levels. Like we only did go in the one cave.
It's true.
I'm gonna roll for it just for giggles at this point.
Sure.
It's a 4 plus 2. Sounds right to me.
You said that in like a game show host voice, and I'm
here
that's
for it.
fun.
I am definitely here for all of that. Okay. So, as you are all traveling on, nighttime falls. Not necessarily quickly, but I mean, sort of quickly. It is approaching winter. You know, winter is coming. And sorry, excuse me. You set up your watches, get yourselves comfortable within Leoman's tiny hut, and rest. Nothing seems to disturb you. It seems as though anything that would have tried to stop you has realized that you yourselves are probably not to be fucked with. I mean, you just felled an adult white dragon after all. Even if, you know, he did try to eat one of your party members.
I'm going to spend some time in the evening
Yep.
attempting to strengthen my bond with Nikea.
Okay. Give me an animal handling check, please.
You need that from everyone who's bonding with their
Yes.
dragonlet.
Oh.
15 total.
Okay, Fred, Monarch, and Orion, you make some good progress. Karasef, you're not quite so lucky. This thing seems to want to eat and eat and eat and do nothing else.
I was picturing it like a cat, like I did too many belly rubs and it spat fire at me.
One belly pat, too many.
Yes. Or whatever my type of dragon spits at people.
What color was your dragon?
I'm trying to remember. I'm looking it up. I think it's copper.
It is copper. If I'm not mistaken, copper is fire.
Cool.
If I'm not mistaken. Which I don't think I am.
What is
Um,
brass?
Pardon?
What is brass? Breathe.
I want to say acid, but hang on.
Ooh, copper is acid.
Oh, copper's acid.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Sorry. Copper is acid. Brass is fire.
Gold.
Got it.
Gold dragons are also fire. The night passes without issue. And as you settle in to begin your second day's journey, a large crack of thunder sounds out from above you. And the sky, previously bright and blue, has opened up with a mixture of sleet and hail. Those of you who
Oh,
have the
good.
ability to feel temperature are quickly soaked to the bone. Orion, even you are affected by the cold. Not as much as your companions are, but, you know, you're not moving as fluidly as you would like.
Getting waterlogged.
Not so much waterlogged, it's more like the magic that is giving you life is pulling in on itself to protect it from the deluge. For the record, this magic would not be affected by a null magic zone. Because this magic is directly tied to your soul. Of which
That's
you
good
have one.
to know.
Yeah, I felt like I should clarify that before it became a question.
Just gets real fed up one day and just cast Dispel Magic on myself. I'm out!
Just
Bang!
falls to pieces. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Oh, God.
You want to see a cool spell? I'm gonna become a teacup and a whole tea set. Bang!
Oh. Man, now I just want to call you Chip.
No, don't do that. Okay. It is cold and it is actually getting very difficult to see your way forward. I need a survival check from whoever it is that is leading the party.
I can do it.
All right. Okay. Despite the torrential downpour and the cold, you are able to keep yourself and your party on track. You do not get quite as far as you normally would have, even with taking your time, because it doesn't necessarily make it rough terrain, but it makes it difficult enough that you are slowed down. So that, you know, like one of those, like, there's no danger that you're gonna accidentally hurt your horses. Just, you know, it could be a problem if you were going too fast.
I have Druid Craft that I can cast for 24 hours.
Okay.
That can make things warm. think that's how it works.
No.
No? Okay. Never mind.
Uh,
Just I knew it's something to do with the weather, so.
yeah.
Part
As
of me
soon
was
as
just
you-
expecting Fred to make like a tiny leafy like umbrella that they're just walking around with Druidcraft.
Yes.
As you travel on, you find yourself pulling over earlier than you probably would have normally, because of the inclement weather. As you set up camp once again, I'm assuming, Otter, underneath the safety and warmth that is provided by Leoman's tiny hut. You watch as it turns from rain and sleet into a gusting snowstorm. It batters and beats at the edges of your tiny hut. But it's not making, it's not coming in. It's just, beating outside. Settling in for sleep once more, again, setting watches and being smart about it, as it were. You find yourselves in the morning waking up to nothing but sheer white surrounding you. Realizing that you've been snowed in. You're pretty sure that by removing the dome, you may very well bring all of that snow down on top of you.
Well, I don't have much of a choice at the end of the 8 hours. I will do my best to make sure no one is laying down when the spell ends.
Well, once everybody is up, party, how are you going to get out of this particular situation? It's not life-threatening, but you probably don't want to try and dig yourself out from snow that's fallen on top of you. You have about 30 minutes before the spell drops on its own.
Well,
Start digging in the doorway.
I can't cast anything from inside the bubble outside of the bubble. I will keep this up as long as I can.
Can anyone else? We can't, right?
No,
You would
nobody
have to go outside the bubble
outside.
to cast.
Yes.
Unless you want to affect something within the bubble.
That's not really going to do much else. Levitate's not going to do anything.
Well, do we have a way to start digging out the top at least, so it doesn't fall down upon us?
Well, this
Say
is a
who's
10-foot sphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could possibly pile things up to try and dig out, because you can, as long as Orion is concentrating on it, he can determine and allow snow in, but he has to allow it and consider that particular bunch that is being brought in by his ally an ally.
you must befriend snow.
Pretty much.
I knew a snow once.
Yeah, I'll dig.
You could also try and do it from the ground, which might be a little bit safer, but it would still require a little bit more work. And while you guys figure out a solution, talk amongst yourself, come up with a plan. I'm going to run and grab another drink because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking tonight, and I need to use the bathroom real quick. So, figure out how you're getting out of this. I will be right back.
I don't know if I throw a fireball at it, would it melt it?
I think it might be a little too close proximity
That's
to
what I
cast
was concerned.
fireball.
Yeah, that's everything else is cold for mine. I got acid splash.
Yeah. I don't really have anything that'll help here. I mean, I could probably summon a one-handed shovel. Just start like flinging it backwards.
Little hand show.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if we just go to the opening and start shoveling snow in, pushing it to the side, we should be able to dig our way out.
I have some
And our-
things that could help, but none of which I can do while keeping the hut up.
Depends whether she will let me. But if I do reduce, if I cast reduce on the snow,
Oh my god, that would make the most amazing snowballs.
uh-huh. The target
Especially
size is
if you, like-
halved in all dimensions and the weight is reduced to 1/8 of normal. This reduction decreases its size by 1 category.
Just picturing a snowball that was reduced into something handheld and you just release the spell as you throw it at somebody.
Well, even if it just reduces it a little bit to,
Well, I have seen you make people large. Would that be beneficial if we had someone large in order to dig us out? Because that would kind of push them up through the top of the hut.
we'd have to do that. You would have to drop the hut first, right?
No, because we can
They
pass
can
in and
leave?
out of it.
You can freely leave.
Oh, okay, okay. That's the other way
And-
to do it. If she won't let me shrink the snow,
I definitely like the idea of that.
Just punch a hole through the top of the snow with a person, and then they can start shoveling.
hmm so that would either be Karasef or Monric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to do it.
We can try one of those.
Okay.
Everyone get bundled up though and stay close. We should tie ourselves together. So when Monric gets out, they can dig down to us and we're not lost or help pull us out. I don't know.
I'm gonna grab Mitzi, wear her around my shoulders like a scarf.
All right, party, what have you come up with?
We've come up with a little bit 2 plans.
Okay, hit me.
Can I cast reduce on the snow to reduce it by half?
You can cast it on a small section.
Okay, then otherwise I'm going to cast enlarge onto Monric. So he goes up and gets out of the snow and digs us out.
And
Okay.
I'll push the snow off of the roof.
Well, this sounds like a fantastic plan. There's only one problem.
Okay.
The moment you cast enlarge on Monric, and he gets larger than the dome will break. You will have overfilled capacity on the dome.
That we could freely pass in and out.
Yes.
Wouldn't his head just go through
but
the top?
it's if you read the spell, it still only allows you a certain amount of people.
It's still a certain amount of people. It's just one of the people got bigger.
Yes, but it does state the spell fails if the area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures. So it would break the sphere if we did enlarge him.
Which you could do, and he could quickly dig you out. Just be aware that all of that snow will collapse in on you guys.
And that's why I was saying if we stay connected, then we're going to make sure that everyone gets out.
So we're going to take some rope and tie everyone together.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
taken
hope
the-
for the best.
I like this
taken the-
plan.
Dragonlet and put her down into my jacket so that she can keep me warm and I can keep her warm.
Okay.
Are we ready to try it, Monric?
Let's go for it.
I cast enlarge.
As you cast enlarge and he gets bigger than the dome allows, it does in fact collapse in around you. Monric, the first person you dig out is Orion. Recalling his difficulty while in the pit. And in an effort to alleviate his concerns, you make sure he is one of the first people you dig out. And then you work on the others, who are maybe not quite so concerned as Monric. Not Monric, as Orion, to be buried underneath things, because they know that you're coming to get them.
I'll dig furiously.
You dig furiously. With that in mind, it takes you about 20 minutes to dig your allies out. And it takes about 30 minutes after that to get on the road because it's slow going. You have to work your way through the snow in the hopes that you're finding the correct path and traveling along the right road. As you do so, give me a survival check, please, Monric. You are able to figure out which direction you need to head, but you're not sure if you're on the right road or if you're on a road at all. You just know that you are headed in the correct direction.
All right, well, we'll continue going in that direction.
Okay, fantastic. You, again, like the day before, your travel is limited, in so much as you just don't move as fast. There's a lot of snow. But as you get closer and closer to Warrington once more, the snow seems to thin out, and travel becomes a little bit easier. You make it just before they close the gates.
Wonderful. Let us in out of this weather.
They let you in. You are directed back to Sir Kyoto's mansion. Or manor, sorry, not mansion, manor. And are welcomed back with open arms and wide smiles. How fared your task, my friends?
We bring scales and dragon teeth and dragon meat as proof of our conquest.
Ah. Well then. That's fantastic. I'm sure the local cooks would be more than willing to barter with you for it.
That'll be up to kitchen.
I'm sure it will. But please, you must be all very tired from your exertions.
I think we all
Huh.
need some warm baths to warm up.
Yes, Otter?
How did Kyoto seem to receive the information that we had
He's-
succeeded?
He seems elated, but also not really surprised.
Yeah, Orion's trying to figure out if he already knew we succeeded before we got back.
No, he did not. No, sorry, he did, but it was more like perhaps a runner came ahead of you to inform him that you guys had returned. Or maybe he already knew. Who knows?
Just Orion is keeping very careful watch of Kyoto, that is all.
Sure. Those who wish to rest are led to a room where they can do so.
Once I have warmed up, I will go find my father and let him know that what I had found and that it seemed like it hadn't been touched.
Okay. That is good news. Thank you, daughter.
You're welcome.
Before Fred would have wandered off, I would have asked if they would still be willing to see if their father would have tea with me.
Mentioned to him that he would like to do that.
I do not see why not.
Fred will
He
also
is-
tell him when she's telling about the horde and stuff about how much the white dragon was interested in her.
Oh, yes, dear, that is because you are mine.
We kind of figured that. I did. Thank
Have your
God for
friends?
my friends.
Have your friends figured it out yet?
Not yet.
It's probably for the best. Tell your friend that I will have tea with him. Go rest.
Thank you. Fred will let Orion know and she'll head off to go soak up in warm. Hot tub, here I come.
Orion, Kyoto and you sit in the library. This seems to also function as his study. Tea is brought, although there seems to only be one cup.
I'm glad he understands.
It is my understanding that you're not one who consumes. Would that be inaccurate to have assumed?
Well, not in the normal sense. I prefer to imbibe in knowledge and lore.
Knowledge and lore.
Yes, if you would permit me, could I get us or provide us a little bit more privacy?
By all means. You have piqued his curiosity.
I am going to indulge in some small chat while I perform Private Sanctum.
Okay.
So, sound cannot leave the square in which we are talking in. Divination cannot enter the square we are talking in. There is no interplanar travel in or out of the square. Creatures in the area cannot be targeted by divination spells. We have private space here. I caught a bit of recognition at an earlier question and saw I saw a glimmer of recognition in your eye when I brought up Alita, and I wasn't sure if your response was due to those around you, so I figured this would provide a space to facilitate that conversation.
Yes. Alita, she is
An old
fantastic, is
friend.
she not?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I have met her in my travels. Arguably, she might be one such that is older than I. He is still very much in his elf persona.
Mm-hmm. So, forgive my curiosity. If Fred carries scales on their person, but their mother does not, and you don't seem to be, where could that come from?
Well,
You seemed to feel quite a way about the dragon in the mountains, but in a slightly different way than the other knights.
I don't mean to offend Orion. But are you much versed in the ways of mortals?
I guess in a certain perspective, I guess I've seen quite a bit of mortal kind.
And such I wouldn't have to explain to you how lineage worked, correct?
Indeed.
It is possible, somewhere down either her line or mine, that somebody had intercourse with a polymorphed dragon.
That is true.
And as such, it may have just been this time with a particular conjoining of. I'm trying to think of. Conjoining of bloodlines that brought her powers into the foreground. I was trying to think of how they would have referred to, like, genetics. Because they definitely wouldn't say genetics.
Yes, that's not a term they're aware of yet.
Not yet.
If I remember correctly, I read somewhere that particularly silver dragons like to spend time amongst the mortals, as you so said.
Give me a perception check, please, Orion.
Yeah. Come on, baby. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. What's my perception? +2. That's a 19.
When you state mortals the same way he has, there is just the slight, almost imperceptible widening of his eyes as if he realizes that he has made a mistake. Your dragon bar is now at a solid 87%.
referring to them as mortals kind of could be inferred that you don't consider yourself amongst that flock.
Elves have a very long life. After all, you would know. You're of moderately the same ilk. Are you not?
As elf?
Well, as long-lived as elves. You do not eat, you do not sleep. Therefore, you must be some form of magical being. In so much as... Oh god, hang on. Try to say shit without, like, revealing DM knowledge that this particular NPC wouldn't know. Much like Fred is predominantly a sentient tree, just taking a significantly more humanoid form.
True. But at least in the scheme of things, the Tandrak are still pretty... I guess that's kind of a pun, if you will. They're a little green as far as a lot of the other
Get out.
humanoid races.
Get out. Sorry.
I couldn't help myself. It was there.
No, and you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. No, it was perfect. Me as the DM, man. The pun threshold. He gives you a very considering look. I think perhaps it might behoove you to speak plainly. Enough hemming and hawing. What is it that you want to say, Orion?
From one, as you said, not so much mortal, to who I kind of suspect may be the same. I'm just curious because, I'll be honest, I've always wanted to meet a dragon and converse in person. I have a weird inkling that you may be of that ilk.
And what, pray tell, leads you to believe that?
Mannerisms, some of the words you've used in conversation, and a bit of your view on how you talk about the world and those around you.
Could you perhaps give me some specific examples?
Sure. Otter does not quite remember the wording they used, but thankfully Orion has keen mind. But one thing I will put out there would be Alita does not involve herself with mortals without an intermediary. For you to know her, as you've said, it would make you something of an interesting person to pique her interest. And of course, I have no reason or anything to say what is said in this lovely private space to anyone else. This is purely for my own curiosity. I'm intrigued by you.
Intrigued by me how?
Like I said, I have an inkling you may be of wyvern lineage, as you put it. Fred speaks very highly of you, and they've been an incredibly helpful member of our little team here.
And what would you do with the information if you were to find out that you were correct?
I would simply be happy that my hunch led me to something I've wanted to meet firsthand in many, many years. When Alita first talked to me of dragons, they weren't quite as big as they are these days.
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever seen them from a distance, and of course, the only one I've seen up close has very angrily tried to kill all of us.
Yes, so I can assume.
I still like to believe in what I knew of dragonkind from before, that some thrive on knowledge, and they enjoy insightful conversation.
Well, you would not be wrong. Given your deductions and the fact that you are apparently more astute than many others that I have encountered. Well, I will tell you that you are correct. And I am sure you can figure out which I am.
Well, by the scales on Fred, I would make an educated guess that silver would be the right choice.
You would be correct. However, I'm not as old as I make myself sound. Hence, why I needed somebody else to deal with the dragon. I could have taken him on, but it would have left me severely injured and unable to defend that which is mine. And this town is mine. As much as one can own a place of mortar and brick. They are a peculiar people, but I have grown close with them over the course of this trial. And know that should your army decide to try and hurt them, I may not have been able to take on a white dragon, but your army will not stand a chance.
Well, I do
Understand me?
believe the army has far more concerns heading where they're going than causing trouble on the way. That is our job, is to at least ease their passage through the towns on the way to where they're headed.
And how has that been going for you?
Well, we've had some dicey situations, but mostly doing all right. Every town we've gone to needs aid in one way or another, odd jobs to gain favor, and then we continue on our way.
Hmm.
How old are you?
I am a mere 150 years young.
Ah,
Yes, I am not very old at all. At least not by draconic standards.
how long do dragons live?
They can be thousands of years old. I can't say I've met one, but my sire was close. I believe he made it to 874. But I haven't heard from him in nigh on 4 decades now.
Hmm.
So God knows if he's still alive or not.
So, there is a chance I could meet one of the wormlings that I knew.
It is possible. I guarantee
Interesting.
nothing. There were some clans that made it a bit of a sport to hunt our kind. I don't blame them. Some of us were right bastards.
I mean, not a lot of it's properly written down through the books for history, but pretty sure all the races had their own animosities.
This is true. Wars have been fought over less and fought for more. So, given the fact that you're all leading a war effort yourselves.
But I do understand it is getting late. I very much appreciate your time and company and honesty. Your secret is safe with me. Someone would have to figure out a whole lot of languages and a few ciphers to even figure it out in my notes. Can I tell Fred that I know, at least in confidence?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I am going to retire. Feel free to avail yourself of my library if you so desire.
Sure. I'll get rid of the privacy then. Thank you again. It truly has been a pleasure. I'm so excited. I met a dragon.
He just gives you a nod and disappears. Seems as though the idea of this revelation might have been a bit much even for him. But, yes, you are able to peruse his library if you so desire.
I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time, because that was a long conversation, so I'll just make this quick. Scanning the room, do I see any books that jump out?
Give me a perception check.
9.
1 catches your attention, and it seems to be a writing on the old gods and new.
Okay. I spend the next couple hours just reading.
Okay. Karasef. We haven't done too much with you, my dear. I need to double check something. Hold tight.
Parasef, if you were talking, we didn't hear you.
But now
That's better.
Fantastic.
I saw your mouth
Cool.
moving, so I thought, oh boy, was he talking? Or just singing
was.
quietly.
I do that too, but not this time.
Mhm.
I need to find in my notes where I wrote down who Karasef's god was.
Oh, Themis and Nemesis.
Right. Right. You drift to sleep. And I just need to double check something real quick so I can make this work properly. Okay. My question for you, Karasef, is what is that one single obscure hobby that Karasef has?
Oh,
You put
probably
it in your
weapon
character
collection,
sheet, my
honestly.
dad.
Uh,
You put it
I-
in the character sheet, my dude. What is it?
I'd go with one-handed weapon collection because he can summon any one-handed weapon. So he probably tries to find everything that he can and learn about it.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna
I'm-
retcon the falling asleep bit.
Okay, on that note, I would like to find a weaponsmith and bring that short sword-sized dragon tooth to him to see if he can do anything with it.
Fantastic. I love this. We're gonna do this instead of what I had that I was doing on the spur of my ass. Give me an investigation check, please, dear.
Investigation check. Oh man, I am not rolling. I'm gonna start using real dice. Yikes.
You are more than welcome to use real dice. Both Quentin and Otter do.
Yeah, I gotta pull them out of storage.
All right, you just.
I'll have
moved.
them next time.
Yeah. All right. So
Actually, last weekend was 1 year at the new house.
really,
Yeah. So that was exciting.
well, shit. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You find a weaponsmith. However, you seem to have encountered a slight problem.
Oh.
Well, it's 10 o'clock and it's closed.
Oh. I suppose I should have seen that coming. Who's open at 10 p.m.?
The tavern?
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna bring a dragon tooth into a tavern and then just go have a drink. It seems like a weird choice. I'm
I
sure
mean,
someone...
yes, but it is also just like big dick energy. Look at what I accomplished, bitch.
I mean, I'm sure they saw all the meat and everything else that we were carrying in, and I'm sure most of the village at this point knows that we defeated the dragon that's been ruining their town for a while.
Oh, absolutely. So in essence, no. What you do find out, or I guess what you do find, it's not that it is closed. The only people that are currently there are the apprentices, who are working on cleaning up and are using this time to hone their own skills.
Okay. Well, I don't exactly want to entrust an apprentice with this one dragon tooth that I have.
As you're checking this place out, I need you to give me a perception check, please, dear.
Absolutely. Just rolling all the things I get +0 in. Oh my god.
Do it again.
Oh my god! For those who can't see this just went from rolling a 2 to rolling a 1.
You know what? The gods intervene on your behalf, Karasef.
Okay.
And as you're perusing the store, what you see before you is a wall filled with weapon sketches. 3 in particular catch your eye. One is a rapier of a particularly ornate make. Seems to be more flash than substance. Definitely something some jackass noble would probably wear on their hip. They have no idea how to actually use it, but it looks good and therefore they're wearing it. Another is a trident. A little bit more subdued than the first, but still in the ornate realm. Specifically because it seems that it's just the way tridents are. I mean, for the most part, they are fairly peculiarly shaped, right? But this is taking it a step beyond without being ostentatious like the rapier was. And the last is a very simple looking... Oh my god. Would Karasef use a longsword?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's what I've been primarily using this whole time.
Okay. Oh, it's right there at the top. Duh. You find a longsword. Now, these are sketches. And those 3 catch your attention. Primarily. The others are good, but something about them doesn't spark joy.
Okay. So there's a lot of kind of basic looking weaponry, something that, a newbie adventurer starting out might get, or something that would be more decorative than practical.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Not even just that, but this clearly seems to be the work of either like a master craftsman or somebody whose job it is to imagine the weaponry on commission type deal.
Okay. I'd ask one of the apprentices who designed the trident and the longsword.
The apprentice that you ask is a young fire genasi. Well, that would be my work, good sir.
Really, I wouldn't have expected that of an apprentice. Oh, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Actually, while I am an apprentice here to the weapons smith, I am actually an artist. But there wasn't really much call for my craft when things got dire. There was more need of the repair and crafting of weapons and armor than there were for somebody who could paint beautiful portraiture. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. In times of war, it's much more important to have a weapon and something pretty to look at.
Exactly. And what is weaponsmithing but creating dangerous art?
Yes, but if they are prettier to look at, then they are practical to use. then they aren't going to be much good in battle.
Yes, that rapier was not one of my finer moments, but it's the noble that wanted it wanted something to impress his friends, which it
And
did.
apparently chose not to keep it?
Well, oh no, so remember, everything that's there is a sketch.
Oh, yeah,
These aren't actually the
That's right,
weapons, they're
okay.
sketches.
Yeah, forgot, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I suppose that would be what a noble would do.
However, the trident, that was a specialty weapon crafted specifically for Dame Slevin.
Dame Slevin?
Dame Slevin. She's one of the knight lieutenants here.
Ah, yes. I believe we spoke before we went off and
She's the lizard folk.
Hunt of the Dragon, yes. Okay. So clearly it must have stood the test of battle then.
Yes, yes. The master craftsman, he made it off of my drawing. A matter of fact, I'm working on the longsword. This one is a newly knighted squire's weapon. Hence why it is being entrusted to an apprentice and not the master craftsman himself. And the oh god, did I say young woman?
God, I don't even remember. I think you just said apprentice. The
Cool.
apprentice that I'm speaking with.
Female fire ganassi shows you the longsword that is actually being like in the process of being sharpened. That's what she was doing when you stopped her to ask about the sketches.
Huh.
You can see a couple points where the hammering is not perfect. But it's not enough to detract from the utility of the weapon.
Okay. Has have any apprentices or masters here ever worked with materials other than metals?
In all technicality, I have, but again, the artist is not exactly translatable.
As far as weaponry goes.
Yes. I can't say. Perhaps the master craftsman. He should be back in at dawn tomorrow.
Okay.
What is it that you're looking for?
After we defeated the dragon a few days ago, I took one of its teeth, and it seems to be about the right size to make a rather nice short sword. And I was hoping to find a smith that could work the material.
Hold on, just a moment. At this point, oh god, I don't remember what fire ganassi speak. Please hold.
Primordial? Question mark?
I also think it's primordial. I just literally can't remember. Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, right. With the okay languages. Oh, right. Everybody just gets common another language that you can speak. There's no. What's the legacy say? Man, that shit annoys me. Okay. It's kind of the whole point of being able to play whatever you wanted was that you picked things. Okay, it is primordial. This fire ganassi turns and sort of just utters a series of guttural phrases to another one of the apprentices that you can see is an air ganassi. And the apprentice runs off. She looks to you once more and asks, "Do you have the tooth, the dragon tooth with you?"
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would be strapped to my back right now.
Might I see it?
Yeah, of course. And I pull it around like it's a backpack and just
Unsling it.
pretty
Fantastic.
much, yeah.
As you unsling this thing and then just set it on the counter, she starts running her hands over it, fascinated. Before she turns, leaves the longsword where it is, grabs a small board with a clip on it that has a bunch of paper attached to it. And she grabs a piece of charcoal, and immediately her hand just starts flying across as she just keeps looking back at this tooth. What she creates is something almost mythical. It feels like it portrays exactly the trials and tribulations you went through to obtain this. It is a combination of both bone and metal. It has a simple filigreed guard, a handle actually long enough that you would think that it would fit both of your hands. So it's like a hand and a half.
Okay.
And by not using the bone for the handle, there is now more bone for the blade, and she has actually sketched you out a longsword.
Fantastic.
And then as you get a closer look at the specific details, there is a portion of the blade that is serrated, where the bone has been turned into basically teeth.
Very nice. I keep, commenting and pointing like, oh, I like this part as they're sketching it, and just very impressed with the design. And when they finish, I'm like, but can it be made?
At that point, as you ask that question, an elder fire ganassi walks in, takes one look at the sketch, takes a look at the bone, looks at you. Why, yes, this is something that can be made. I can make anything. The question is, do you have the coin to get it made? This would be my magnus opus. I can feel it.
What would your cost be? Bearing in mind that I just helped rid your village of the scorn of a white dragon.
That you did. That you did. However, time is not cheap. And time is not free, especially not when you need somebody to make you something.
I'm gonna stand there silently, stoically, just like waiting.
Sorry, I'm just very quickly looking up.
You're good.
Okay. As you are sort of haggling back and forth with this master craftsman, you notice that the apprentice has switched and is now sketching the other side of the sword. There is one particular thing that you notice. which is that she has added following your own, like, what is on your armor. You have a symbol on the guard. So if you're looking at this image I gave you, you see that sort of shield shape there in the center of the guard? In that, it has a sword with a pair braced across a tripod, which is a combination of your two goddesses' symbols.
Very nice.
And then anything that you were saying to this master craftsman is lost amidst the guttural conversation happening between him and his apprentice. Matter of fact, this entire thing seems to be getting heated. And I don't just mean because you're in a blacksmith shop.
Is it because they're fire genasi?
It is because they're fire genasi. You know, the room is rising slowly in temperature as they continue to get more and more angry with each other. At one point, she stops, looks over at you, and asks once again in common, if you were to perhaps trade in some of your weapons for the metal for the sword, would you perhaps be so inclined to allow an apprentice to work on the metal whilst the master craftsman works on the blade?
Ah, you see, that is where things become somewhat difficult, and I will summon another longsword that I carry, and I'll hand it to them, but it'll disappear moments later.
Ah. Right.
This would be my first physical weapon that I would carry.
If you can guarantee us, say, a third of the scales you were able to bring back, we will consider that fair compensation.
We'll need to speak with the other members of my party.
It will be a third of the scales and 50 gold pieces. The 50 gold pieces is for my time.
Of course. Let us adjourn back in the morning.
We will see you in the morning.
Okay.
And then once again, they just start arguing with each other in Primordial.
I'm gonna grab the bone and bring it with me. Or the tooth.
Yep.
Sling it back over my back and bid them good evening.
They both wave, but it's not like a dismissive wave. It's like, yes, goodbye, we just need to finish this conversation.
I'd go back to wherever the rest of the party is and discuss with them what options we might have.
Well, party?
I was
we
kind of
doing
hoping to
anything
make
with the
some scale
scales?
mail, but I'm
Would there
willing
be
to.
enough scales left over from 2/3 of what we collected? I imagine it was a large dragon.
We collected 120 white scales,
Holy cow.
4 claws, and 17 teeth. I'm not sure what kitchen wants to do with all that. Plus 100 pounds of dragon meat.
I'm
Sorry, I'm
sure
looking at
there's enough
something real
scales.
quick. Continue.
So I would certainly want to leave at least enough scales for everybody else to do what they want to do with the scales. So, for instance, the scale mail.
You can have my
Oh.
share. I don't want it.
Oh, well, I much appreciate that. And that would equal 1/3 then, as there are 6 of us. I much appreciate that.
And I'm not too attached to mine either. If Monric needs it for a project of their own, I'd be happy to lend mine to that end.
You only need 40 scales to be 1/3.
Well, you know, he's offering his to Monric.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah.
120 by 6 is 20, so
Yeah, that gives
between
me
mine
enough
and yours, you've got it.
scales. Fantastic.
Now, if you take Orion's, maybe you could use that instead of the 50 gold pieces. I think he froze.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, well, again, I think Monric wanted to make something, and I don't know how many scales he would require.
That's what I'm trying to look up.
I can get by with whatever's left. I'm happy to make sure you
Oh.
have enough for your craft.
I certainly wouldn't want to shortchange you either.
Do you have the currency aside from the scales on hand?
That is an excellent question, and I'm gonna go check my my coin pouch and realize that I don't think I've earned gold since I showed up as Karasef. I have 21 gold, 37 silver, and 30 copper.
You got more than I do.
I wonder if there's any way in town to earn a little bit of scratch.
Maybe they have a use for the claws and teeth.
Yeah, we could sell the meat or the claws or
Oh yeah,
any
so
of
we were
that.
going to leave that to kitchen. So perhaps we it's slightly meta here, just revisit that next week.
Make a note.
Oh, I am.
If it is of the time sensitive nature, and of course with permission of Niakia,
Nikea?
with the permission of Nicaea, I could fund the other half if they are reimbursed. But of course, I have handed them my hoard, so it would be a question for them if they're okay with it.
I love that you gave your gold to your dragonette.
Why not?
That's fit. Oh no, I really do love that. I'm not being sarcastic. That's fantastic.
This is nice, but you're not telling me how many scales would be needed to craft a thing of scale mail.
So while you're looking, I will produce Nicaea and my pouch of monies and ask upon my dragonlet if they would be willing to temporarily part with some of their gifted hoard if it would be returned to them in the near future.
They give it some consideration, but agree yes. Also, I'm going to adjust how many scales you guys got because I finally found it. These are larger scales, considering the fact that they are an adult dragon's scales. I said you had how much? 125?
120.
120. No, you guys walked away with 500 scales.
Oh.
And these are larger than your typical, like, what you would assume, like, a male scale mill, like a metal scale mill would be. Like, these are almost 3 or 4 times the size of a single scale for metal. So you would need about 300 to make your armor, Monarch.
And if they're still requiring a third of them, that would be
33.
roughly 186? 166? It's 83
Which you guys
and some
technically have to
change.
spare.
Yeah.
We have enough scales to do both.
Yep.
Assuming Sasha and Kitchen don't want to do anything with the scales. But yeah, no, that sounds like it works out. I'll revisit them in the morning. The morning, I'm assuming, being next week after Sasha and our Kitchen are back.
Yes, that would be correct.
But
Sorry, go ahead, Otter.
I was simply going to say it would seem Nikea has agreed to lend you some of their hoard towards this endeavor.
Excellent. Thank you, Nikea. Do you ever call her Nikki for short?
I don't know how you feel about that.
Mm-mm.
So you needed, what, 20...
29.
29? And I will give you that,
Excellent.
and I will make a note that Karasef owes Nikea 29.
Yes, I have made the same note.
I love that. Fantastic. So, after a night of sleep, you wake to the delicious smells of breakfast being cooked for those that consume food. And the breakfast table is laid out. A place is set for Orion. However, there is nothing like in front of it, food-wise.
Just
Sasha
comes
is
out
served.
with a new book on it.
Yeah, pretty much. This book is on dragonets or dragonlets and how they came to be. Like, this is the information behind that. For the rest of you who are eating and or being offered ways to eat around visual impairments that don't seem to come off, Karasef, looking at you. Sir Kyoto sits at the head of the table. So where is it that you're headed from here?
I believe Bleakburn would be the next town along the way.
Really?
On our way to Silversummit.
I garnered that much, given the fact that you have an army coming after you, but, Bleakburn? Really?
That's the next town, isn't it? I've never been down this far down south.
Well, yes, it is technically the next town, but it's not
Sense
welcoming.
concern in your voice over the
I-
term Bleakburn.
To be honest, the family of the family Bleakburn was actually a very popular one. They founded that city centuries ago, actually. And they founded it, they farmed, they mined. They ran the town with an iron fist and a velvet glove. And as far as we knew, there was no complaints. Their crime rates were low. Everybody did their part. By all means, it should not have sort of disappeared. But in the last 4 decades, 3 maybe, people have just stopped coming from Bleakburn. We haven't seen anybody travel through there. Nobody has come to stay, go back. There's been no trade coming out of the city. I'm not entirely sure what's occurred. And anytime I have attempted to fly over, the place has been
Why?
shrouded in fog. To be fair, I've done it in the morning, so I'm not sure that that's a detriment or not.
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess we'll find it when we get there. It's like every other town we've gone through.
It is the path ahead.
Do be careful. I wish I could give you more information, but I don't have any.
So long as the weather is better on the way there.
I hope so. That snowstorm looked nasty. I do hope you're okay.
Much warmer now.
I'm glad. um Is there anything I could possibly help you with?
Don't think so. It's just the army coming through behind us.
We'll
Should
make
be
sure they
about-
get through.
I think a week by now, Orion or Karasef. How long are they behind us?
Week sounds
Oh.
about right, although with the delays that we keep encountering, they may be closer on our heels.
The weather may also slow them down a little bit.
Yes, that as well.
True.
I did not consider that. Although we seem to fare through it easily enough, I can't imagine an army being slowed much by it.
Yeah.
But yes, no, it seems that every town we come through in this kingdom has some calamity that must be resolved.
But we do keep meeting the most interesting people in our travels.
Well, yes, this is true.
I'm very glad it's brought me here. I look forward to coming back.
We look forward to having you back.
Well, we should get going if we've got the morning.
Thank you for your hospitality.
It was my pleasure. Uh, best of luck.
Oh, these are yours. And I will give Kyoto back the book I stole from his library. And then the book
Poor
for
Road.
breakfast.
Okay.
Can't be wandering off with your library now, can I?
Thank you for returning this. uh, Monric.
Yes, sir.
When you take your scales to the armorer, which is not the same as the weaponsmith, he tells you that he cannot, in the time frame, put together that armor for you.
I figured as much.
It is not that he does not wish to do the work because he thinks working with those sorts of dragon scales would be phenomenal and fascinating, but it is literally just the time constraint in which you need to have it done by. He does offer you a deal, however. And this deal is that he will give you written, explicit instructions, a kit, and enough rings to create your own if only you come back when it's done and show him what you have made. He recognizes another follower of Hephaestus.
I can definitely agree to that.
He gives you a bag that is fairly heavy, that is full of jump rings, and a armor toolkit. This includes pieces to be able to drill holes into the scales so that you can layer them on top of each other. And while you're inspecting all of this, he is very quickly writing down the explicit instructions involved in making both chain and scale mill, including crude but legible diagrams for you to follow.
Okay, I should be able to follow these.
And now, Monric has something to do at night while keeping watch.
I'll be happy to do it.
Karasef.
Yes.
We are going to hand wave the Kitchen Sasha conversation, and you guys will have that next week. You are informed that it will take 12 hours to carve and make that weapon because they started last night.
Fantastic.
They figured you were going to come back, and so they already started on the metal portion of the sword. You need to leave the tooth with them for 12 hours and come back at basically mid-afternoon. And that sword will be ready for you.
Done. For sure.
Okay, fantastic. You hand over the gold, but hold on to the scales to start.
Okay.
The scales will be final payment at the end.
Sounds fair to me.
And before we move on to the next town, we're going to call it here for the night so that Kitchen and Sasha can do anything that they would like to do here in town, interact with NPCs before we railroad them into the next town, as well as having that lovely conversation that needs to be had about, hey, do you guys mind if we use your portion of the scales that we got? Ha 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 ha. Without probably the laughter.
And me very much avoiding a conversation.
Yes. Yes, that conversation that you guys are absolutely gonna have. So, that being said,
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally forgot you summoned a demon recently.
yeah, you did. That being said, we will see everybody on the 6th of October. I hope you guys are excited for the next episode. They are going to be traveling to Bleakburn, where they may run into an old face. On the road, in the town, who knows? You'll have to tune in next week to find out. Do remember the pandemic is still occurring, even though everybody, seems to be a little bit more lax on it. If you're not feeling comfortable or you're not feeling well, wear a mask, social distance when you can, sanitize and wash your hands if at all possible. Be kind to one another, and remember, roar for initiative. Have a good night, everybody.